How do you do? Mr. Mendez feels it will be a little unkind to present this special without just a friendly word of warning. We are about to unfold the story of haunted Puerto Rico, a small island in the Caribbean that has 600 years of history. Most of it is dark and disturbing. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So, if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to, well, we warned you. So, you decided to visit the Enchanted Island, But things are not what they seem to be. For almost 600 years, Puerto Rico has many dark events that hath ever seen, and some return back to haunt them. But tonight is Halloween night, the perfect night to tell you the real haunted island. And don't worry, it's to watch this with someone else and not alone. Our first stop, we're going to visit a certain train tunnel that's been around in the town of Quebradilla for almost 100 years. I might warn you, if you go to the tunnel during the night, sure that the train you see is real and not transparent. On the beaches of Quebradilla, on the rocky slopes, is an old train tunnel used during the sugarcane boom of the early 20th century, known as the Train Tunnel of Wayataca. It was built by the PR Railway during and from 1904 to 1905. During the half of the 20th century, many steam engines passed through this tunnel with sugar and passengers until, in 1911, a passenger train, steam engine number 42, was carrying passengers. It was on the passage for the tunnel. The engine derailed and crashed outside the tunnel. Only 12 were killed at the scene of the crash. By 1957, most of the railroad has been shut down after the government opened roads and highways so goods and people can get to places faster. By the end of the 60s, all of the railway was gone. In 2000, the tunnel was declared a national monument and brought some tourism to the area. By day, many go to the beach that's next to the tunnel, but at night, many locals who walk to the tunnel at night often hear the sound of a steam engine and a steam whistle, but the older people know that's the ghost train of number 42, trying to complete its journey through the tunnel. Even people who walk close to the tunnel's entrance can hear a steam whistle and even a bright light, believing to be the engine itself. Others, the screams of the 12 victims who were killed on the day of the crash. So, when planning your next trip to Wayataca Beach in Quebradilla, make sure you go during the day. And if you have the guts to stay after dark, you might even hear the famed steam engine's whistle. Just make sure you don't get on board. It's a one-way trip. Speaking of phantom vehicles, here's one from the west coast of the island, in the town of Mayaguez. This time, it's not a ghostly vehicle, but an older muscle car in an abandoned house from a small neighborhood. But this ain't no ordinary car. If you're getting ideas of getting the car out, let's hope your luck doesn't run out. Be sure of that. In the neighborhood of Barrio Batallas, in the town of Mayaguez, in the house, a family were going through difficult times. One of the members made a pact with the devil himself. Since then, strange things started to happen in the house. The family had to leave, but during the years they tried to get a 1964 Ford Mustang out of the garage, and it was impossible. It's said, in one occasion, they brought a tow truck to pull the Mustang out. When they tried, the pull cable from the tow truck broke. For no reason. Till this day, the Mustang is still inside the garage of the old house, now abandoned. So anybody dare to pull out the muscle car, there's only one prize. Your life. Our next stop, a vacant lot and a single object. What used to have been a famous federal penitentiary. It was closed and torn down. But Rio Piedras State Pen has kept its secrets. Let's see what secrets were they. Rio Piedras State Penitentiary in the town of Rio Piedras, known by all as the Alcatraz of the Caribbean, constructed in 1927 on the foundations of the original built by the Spanish. The prison first opened in 1933. Rio Piedras State Pen, or its nickname, Prisión Oso Blanco, or White Bear Prison in Spanish, due to the color of the prison and also a sighting of a phantom bear. The prison has 332 cells, 12 pavilions, a clinic, psychiatric hall, library, classrooms, workshops, mess halls, with capacity for 500 inmates, a kitchen and restrooms, all organized around an interior patio. There were strange events that happened in the prison. The guards report that some of the prisoners vanished in the prison and their bodies never found. Other reports said they found bones within the walls and a guard who committed suicide in one of the watchtowers. Another and most seen is a specter of a white bear roaming the prison grounds. The weird part is, there are no bears in Puerto Rico since the island is a tropical island and the bears cannot withstand the tropical heat. In 2004, the Puerto Rican government ordered the eviction of the state prison because it was too expensive to readjust the structures to newer and modern facility standards. By then, the prison was registered as a historic landmark, but by 2015, the penitentiary was demolished. All that was left was the entrance to the building. Till this day, no one knows what happened to the prisoners and why they vanished. We may never know. Who doesn't say the past doesn't come back? Our next trip will be at the capital of the island, but in the old city of Old San Juan for almost 500 years. The city survived many events that change, but one certain area does tell a different story. One that even the voices of the past come back to let everyone know what happened centuries ago. People who visit the old city of San Juan during the night might hear a ghostly sound of cannons firing. On the grounds of El Moro Castle stands a lone monument, a tribute to the soldiers who died defending the old city. There were two events that happened. In 1595, the English privateer Sir Francis Drake, serving under the British crown of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth I, he led a surprise attack on San Juan during the night, but Drake failed when El Moro fired its cannons and hit his cabin on his flagship. Drake retreated and most of his ships were sunk. But in 1625 was the bloodiest sea battle. Captain Balduino e Rico led the Dutch Navy to attack San Juan during the night and burned down the floating fortress El Canuelo. The city was sacked and burned. If you have plans to visit the old city, better do it at night. There you can hear the ghostly sounds of cannons firing or the screams of the people who suffered the Dutch attack of 1625. Be sure that that's not acting. If it were, it's actually pretty good. Until the dead. Our final story for tonight is a sentry box on the older levels of San Cristobal Castle. But to the locals, they know which box they're talking about. If I were you, I wouldn't stay in that certain tower for tonight. You might not come back till the morning sunrise over the horizon. In modern day San Juan, from the beautiful beaches, tasty food, and wonderful culture, lays a dark secret on the grounds of the old Spanish fortress San Cristobal. Below the lower parts is a sentry box that faces the endless ocean. Not known what sentry box they're talking about. What lays below is a tower of terror, and even to hell itself. That there is the devil sentry box. For those who are religious, they know well the story of the devil sentry box.
But the darkest and most disturbing legend is said to have occurred at the very oldest part of the fortress. A single guardhouse known as the Devil's Sentry Box. The sentry box's satanic reputation stems from the 19th century and a series of mysterious disappearances. Soldiers sent to stand guard at the lonely outpost would simply vanish. Word spread among the troops. Now standing guard at the Devil's Sentry Box seemed tantamount to a suicide mission. Soldiers had to be ordered to stand guard at night in the remote guardhouse overlooking the sea. And in the morning, their replacement would find absolutely nothing. A sign to all of the deeply religious soldiers that the sentry box was a portal to hell. Whatever made the soldiers disappear, the guardhouse itself still stands. A lonely sentinel that at least looks like a passageway between worlds.
Most known is the disappearance of a Spanish captain and a beautiful local young woman. The story goes, there was a party on the fortress. The young captain fell in love with the woman. They walked away from the party and hid in the sentry box for some privacy. But by morning, they were gone. Many in the community believe they eloped and live in a Yunque rainforest. but many know what really happened. So till this day, the sentry box remains alone, staring at the endless ocean. For those who dare to enter and stay in the tower, do it at your own risk. What advice? You better record yourself. It might be the last thing everyone will see until you disappear in the dark tower forever. Well, I hope you enjoyed the journey and stories from the island's past. But before I go, a hint of warning. When you walk the streets or your neighborhood on Halloween night, make sure the person you're with or hanging out is alive and not a ghost. Happy Halloween!
Trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat for Halloween. Better give a treat that's good to eat if you want to keep life serene. Trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat the whole night through. Little scalawags with fiendish gags can make it tough on you. So when ghosts and goblins by the score ring the bell on your front door, better not be stingy or your nightmares will come true.